Cloachy Bogmarsh here once again. I know it said it might be a little bit before I put another video up, but I said fuck it. Okay. So yesterday I was watching this video about ancient artifacts, things that people have a hard time explaining, and how mystical they are and how much power they are. And if you know what ancient artifacts is, then you would understand this. Okay. Well, the one that caught my attention the most was and I don't remember the name of the god particularly because there's so many gods that have done the same thing that this one does. It's just this was in the Hispanic culture, Latino, I guess, or however you want to put it. But they moved this statue that for some reason was never finished. Okay, because I guess it was very powerful, more powerful than they believed it was going to be. And this statue was paying homage to a god that was the god of rain. Okay. And they apparently found it where they believe used to be like a large, field for maize. And if you know what maize is, then good for you. All right. Well, the people used to sacrifice babies to this statue because it needed the blood of children in order for it to produce rain, or this god to produce rain, deity, god, however you want to put it, to produce rain. And then I started thinking about the this conversation I had with this lady the other day, and she was talking about how bad it was, and people don't live in their heart like they should, and all this kind of stuff because we lost our way because we used to sacrifice children, and stuff like that. And yeah, that's been part of our history for a really long time. But then I started thinking about modern time, and I was thinking to myself, well, I bet you that we as modern society kill more children every day, all right, preconception and postconception, all right, than every child that was slaughtered for the greater good, or what they believed was the greater good at one time. Every day. And yes, there are people, I'll admit it, there are people that frown upon it. But it seems like there's an overwhelming number of people that are okay with that simply for the fact that they don't want to take responsibility for their own lives and they're only thinking of themselves instead of the greater good. So it's like a lose-lose situation, kind of, but it's also a win-lose situation, depending on how you think about it. And you can call me cruel-hearted if you want to, but that's a fact. I mean, we especially in Western civilization kill so many children, and a lot of Eastern cultures, Chinese specifically is the only one I really know of. Fantastic camera skills around here. I got the greatest cameraman right here. Look, see, all right. Um, they have limits on how many children they can have, so they don't, and they already have a population issue, but we just keep reproducing and keep reproducing and keep falling into the same patterns every day. But we find it okay to sacrifice these children for no reason. At least back in the day, they sacrificed children for specific reasons, right? Their beliefs. We don't have beliefs because when you get to a society that thinks that it's okay to have as many children or impregnate themselves as many times as they want because all they have to do is go down to the clinic and have it taken care of, that's okay. Because, yeah, granted, they may have the right to do that, but they also had the right not to let some dude jack off inside of them. To be politically correct. To inseminate them, I guess is the politically correct term. Because, and it's like I keep saying, people don't don't see the world. They don't understand themselves. They have no values, regardless of whether they believe that they have values. Okay? And then this is a two-parter, okay? So also yesterday, I was watching things about pyramids and stuff like that. More ancient stuff, trying to learn more about our past and our culture, the things that they don't necessarily teach in school. All right? And they have their reasons behind that. And you can call that conspiracy if you want. I don't give a shit. Okay? But, the pyramids that most people think about, okay? And, I knew that there was, other pyramids out there, but the ones you always hear about are the Egyptian pyramids, okay? And I feel like these two tie together, and if you understand how they tie together, then good on you for it. Okay, there was a time, as much as I hate slavery, and slavery is not the way, but it actually gave people a purpose in life. Whether it was a cruel purpose in life, it actually gave them something that they knew that was going to happen when they got up, which I guess is okay in a way, but it's really not, okay? But the thing about the Egyptians that I think that most people miss is, have you ever noticed that most modern cultures, we bury all of our people, everybody, unless you want to be cremated, but majority of people are buried when they die, okay? And, that takes up a lot of space and stuff like that, and, in my opinion, it's just a waste of time and money. But back in the day, majority of everybody, they were just burned because it was easier, It just was. And in my opinion, it was more sanitary in a way, but that's just me. But have you ever noticed, especially with the Egyptian pyramids predominantly that I've seen thus far, and I could be wrong on this. Remember, I've tried to present facts, but that's not apparently works. And then so I just get on here and I just speak my opinion about things the way that I see the world. All right? But have you ever noticed that only the leaders, the rulers of the Egyptian cultures were actually buried, mummified and buried, or, people of significance were mummified and buried in these tombs, these mausoleums, if you want to call them, these pyramids. And I have an opinion about why the pyramids are the way that they are, but that's another thing for another day. But, and it goes back, as cruel as it was, these rulers, they gave people, a purpose in life for the most part. And a lot of people have a hard time finding purpose in life, and that, that causes problems. But the thing about society that I think people miss is, they all hate war and stuff like that, and they hate death, and they just all apparently want to live this nice life, but they keep buying into the bullshit. But at one time, to be considered a ruler, you had to be able to make certain judgment calls for the greater good of society. All right? And that's why I believe some of these Egyptian pharaohs and pharaohnesses, however you say it, the female pharaohs, whatever their term is, I can't remember off the top of my head. But they buried these people because they believed that they were descendants of gods, deities in some form of fashion, because they were able to make the hard choices that needed to be made for the greater good of humanity. All right? But somewhere down the line, that's all been changed for some reason. And now we believe that, we are all equal. And yes, we are all equal. And, there are certain things we need to get away from. But has anybody considered the fact that maybe, especially in modern culture, they hide so many facts about our past because they don't want us to believe the past. They want us to believe them, the people that are in control. Have y'all stopped to think about that? Have you stopped to think that the system in which the world has always run on has been manipulated to such a point to where we're essentially mindless drones. That's all we are, you know. If anything, we're one step above drones from beehives, because at least our we can freely go and reproduce if we want. Most drones, they don't reproduce. It doesn't work like that. They have one purpose in life. But they have a purpose, and they know their purpose, and that brings them joy. Have you ever stopped to think about that, folks? Like, having a purpose is great in this world, but you got to remember that sometimes there comes a point in which we have to remember who we are and why we truly do what we do, and why we put specific leaders in office or in power, as not to, you know, make laws and stuff like that and tell us how to live in a way that is, but it's all about, back in the day, it was all about protecting what everyone had worked so hard for, to build the way of life that they had. And that's not what we're doing, because if we did, we would be working together more as a whole for the greater purpose of society, instead of allowing a two-party system to drive a wedge in between us and cause chaos amongst the people, to the point to where people are killing other people for the most bullshit fucking reasons. I mean, the most bullshit reasons. Reasons. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's baffling how lied to and manipulated human beings are. That there are people that think that the human society is only 6,000 years old, but there are facts out there that show that there were greater civilizations 25,000 years ago. Greater civilizations than we are right now. More technologically advanced, but without all the technology. And that's why I keep telling you, if you control the past, you can control the future. And if you control the future, you can control the present. All right? Like I said, it's not a mystical thing. It's just a fact of life, apparently. So, I want y'all sit down. Y'all think about that. Y'all can call me cruel-hearted. Y'all can call me whatever you want. But it comes a time where leaders did what they needed to for their people, where leaders today do what they need to benefit themselves. So think on that, folks. Cloachy Bogmarsh out, motherfuckers.